Okay, legends, I am back with another video about the beloved series that we all can't get enough of. The badass, the brutal, the beautiful Cobra Kai. So if you saw my last video, I broke down my theory for how I think Kumiko's disappearing act is actually tied to Terry Silver and how I believe he has done something rather sinister with her as a means to expose and attack Chozen's weakness. So not going to go into that again, but if you haven't seen that, check that video out because it will give some context for this one. Now, Cobra Kai Endgame, it's coming. And in this video, I'm going to make 3 key predictions that I think will unfold in Season 6. And if you stick around to the end, I am going to throw in a very, very bold theory that I would love to hear your thoughts on. So let's get to it. As we already know, in Season 6, and actually we are at the Sakai Takai now, so things are moving pretty quickly. And I suspect, actually, that the amount of hype that this show has placed on the Sakai Takai is just a decoy to steer our attention away from the absolute chaos that is about to be bestowed upon us. So let's leave what we already know and take a leap into the possible, and I believe probable for this season. Number 1, the return of Terry Silver. The finale of Season 5 had us believe that Silver would in fact be behind bars and Cobra Kai would close and all would be right with the world. However, I know, you know, and we know that Terry Silver is far too wealthy and far too powerful to get put behind bars for simply beating up the likes of a middle-aged man named Stingray within the 4 walls of his dojo. We also know that he has a very dodgy lawyer, and probably many of them, that from the Karate Kid 3 even, that Mike Barnes references in Season 5, who Daniel himself actually tries to make contact with. So he's still kicking around. So where is our naughty boy now? We know that Silver's dream, it's Silver's dream, not Kreese's dream, to fight in the Sakai Takai. However, now Kreese is back on the scene, heading up the Cobra Kai brand again, alongside his South Korean counterparts, which were actually former allies of Silver's in Season 5. This leaves no room for Silver to compete in the Sakai Takai, at least under the brand of Cobra Kai. But that is a small issue, right? Because we know, as we saw in Season 5, Terry Silver is a man who likes to go shopping and he has a lot of money to spend. And he actually spent an episode driving around the valley simply buying up dojos and then rebranding them under Cobra Kai. Now, being the smart businessman that he is, we know all he would have to do to compete at the Sakai Takai is simply acquire a dojo that is actually competing. This would bring him back to fulfill his lifelong ambition, making things very interesting between the 2, technically 3 long-time rivals, Cobra Kai, Miyagi-Do, and Eagle Fang. But Eagle Fang and Miyagi-Do are now 1, so that's 2, but you get my point. So, is it then possible that we might, for the very first time, see some form of collaboration between the 2 dojos, Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do? You know the old saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and what bigger enemy right now between both dojos than Terry Silver? But, contest aside for a moment, I do not believe that Silver will simply come back for just a simple contest win. Silver is a sinister, evil man, and he absolutely craves carnage. He will be back with a vendetta against everyone. Miyagi-Do, Cobra Kai, Kreese, Lawrence, Laurusso's, Barnes, Chozen, you name it, he's coming back for them. Now, I believe that Silver already has gone after Kumiko. I've mentioned that previously as one of my insurance policies. But this would actually, if you think about it, inspire the all-out war that I think is coming. And likely to be fought in Japanese soil, which would be the perfect character art for our beloved character Chozen. Because if you think about it, in Karate Kid 2, he fought against Kumiko in Okinawa. And in this instance, he could be fighting for Kumiko in Okinawa, bringing him full circle. I actually believe that Silver has also recruited Kenny, and I believe that Kenny will be fighting for Silver in the dojo that he acquires at the Sakai Takai, and he's going to teach him a lot more than the Silver Bullet. So I believe Okinawa is actually going to be the source of the war, because at the end of the day, Silver is at war with Miyagi-Do, and Miyagi-Do is in Okinawa. Theory 2. Kreese. Is it possible that Kreese will join Miyagi-Do? As I mentioned, hear me out, there has been a growing vulnerability with Kreese's character, particularly about the way he feels a fatherly bond towards Johnny Lawrence, but that's not new anymore. But this can also be seen by the way he's developing a very genuine care and affection for Tori Nichols. So much so, he actually opposed Silver at the All Valley contest in season 5 when he said, let her do what she wants. That shows a huge character growth from what we had seen in Kreese in previous seasons and in the original movies. Now, Kreese, he seems to be learning his lessons. Now, he has been painted as a monster in this show, and rightfully so. He is a monster. He is a bad, bad dude. But at the same time, Kreese was a decent man, a good man before the war in Vietnam. In fact, he's living with severe PTSD. He believes he's at war all the time. And I believe the way in which he will redeem himself, and I believe a redemption is coming for his character, I believe bringing Silver back from the dead, which is what he's done, he will take on Silver in hand-to-hand combat in defense, and potentially defense of Miyagi-Do and Johnny. Both dojos, Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do, will be at war with Silver. And you know the old saying, I've said it a minute ago, my enemy is my friend. It would make sense that Kreese finally leans towards support of Cobra Kai, bringing Cobra Kai to Miyagi-Do. In fact, I believe that Kreese is at the Sakataka to win, because that would crush Silver's dreams of, well, basically, Silver's always had the dream of winning the Sakataka. That would destroy his dreams. And what better way to get back at him? But in addition, he knows that Silver will not stop at the Sakataka. He knows there will be a true war after the contest. Maybe, just maybe, this is why he's shaping this Kwon fella into this ruthless fighter, because he is preparing for the real war with Silver, not just the contest. I believe Tori Nichols will be the trustworthy intermediate that brings Kreese closer to Miyagi-Do to face the common enemy. After all, how awesome would it be to see John Kreese destroy the monster that he has created in Silver, and in the case of Cobra Kai, recreated. Theory 3. Mr.Myagi, aka the Stone Cold Killer. If we take ourselves back to Karate Kid movie franchise for one moment, what sticks to mind? It's how anti-tournament, anti-fighting Mr. Myagi was. So much so, it's the very reason he originally refused to train Daniel-san in the Karate Kid 3, which is actually what allowed Silver to lure Daniel into Cobra Kai in the first place. But we never got the answer why. Why was Mr. Myagi so against tournaments, so against trophies? Why was he all about defense at all costs? Well, we learned from Cobra Kai Season 6 already that Mr. Myagi himself likely fought at the Sakataka. And when Daniel reveals the bloody headband stored in Mr. Miyagi's secret box, that got me thinking. I believe, well, it's interesting because the Sakataka is the most brutal karate contest on earth. So why would Mr. Myagi, the all-peaceful, all-defense, and more importantly, anti-contest fella, go and fight in the biggest, bloodiest, brutal contest on earth? It just doesn't make sense. Because he was a different man back then. And I believe it's highly probable that Mr. Myagi not only fought in the Sakataka, but won. And in my opinion, he won, killing his opponent in the process by mistake. This type of trauma would explain the radical shift that Mr. Myagi went through from the aggressive offensive striker to the defensive, humble, anti-contest individual. Now, I did tell you, if you stick around to the end, I'm going to chuck in a fourth theory. Now, I want to just preface this real quick, because I'm going to get a lot of comments, probably quite angry about this one. This is not something I believe is happening, or is going to be in the story. I simply believe it's possible, and I want to know your thoughts. Kwon, the love child. This theory is just an idea. If you remember the conversation that Silver and Kreese had over what was presumably a very expensive dinner in season 4, as it was on Silver's tab, where Silver said to John Kreese, "You stole the man's son. If that's not a direct attack, I don't know what is." So, hear me out. What if Kwon is the offspring of Terry Silver? Think about it for a second. What if Kwon, this absolute weapon at karate, he's malicious, he's cocky, he's intelligent, and he's innovative in his style of karate. What if he's the offspring of Terry Silver? Because Terry Silver is innovative in his style of karate, aka the Silver Bullet, aka Quicksilver. He's malicious, he's cocky, he's intelligent. There's a lot of character traits there. And wouldn't it be interesting if Terry had a love child from his days in South Korea and John Kreese went to expose and attack his potentially only weakness that might remain? I would love to know your thoughts on all of these points, especially the fourth. Now, real quick, I've decided to build a YouTube channel. This is my second video. I want to make many videos reviewing other shows, other movies, theories, predictions, reviews, all of that jazz. If you like the style of my videos and you want to make some recommendations, please comment them below. But obviously subscribe and like the videos if you want to see more. And I will see you guys in the next video. Ta-ta.